Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint this old world scene with some stairs. We're going to kind of keep it simple today and use like a palette knife to do some of the stonework. So I think it'll be a fun one. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's been in chat today, so you have questions, you can ask those in chat and I'll try to answer. Let's get started. All right, I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas today. This is the Dixie Pro Series Cotton Archival Canvas Board. It's got a hard core, so it's nice they don't warp like some of the paper core boards do. I've just used the leftover dark colors from my last video to paint the background. So it's like brown, burnt umber, just all these dark browns. I just used up the leftover paint to paint this background just to give it a tone, a dark brown tone to start with today. So the color doesn't really matter. We're going to be covering most of it up, but it's just kind of going to give us a base to work from. And then I just used some chalk pencil, charcoal white pencil to draw in the design on here just to kind of give us a head start on that. The brushes that I'm going to be using today, I just grabbed a variety of flats and bright. The brights are shorter than the flat there. And then I've got a Filbert, a few different rounds. These are all the Aspen 61, the Aspen series and the Princeton brushes. And then I've got my Willow blenders, the 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch VelvetTouch to do some of the other work, but the more textured brushes like these will give us a little bit more of that rustic look that we're going to go for today. I also grabbed a couple of my angle brushes just because when we get to doing the grasses and the foliage and things, I like to use the angle brushes for that. So I've got a 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch angle brush from the Princeton VelvetTouch line. Princeton is our brush sponsor, so thank you to them, and to Fredrix, our canvas sponsor, for providing our materials today.
Yes.
I've also got a couple of Deerfoot stipplers. I'm not sure if we'll use these or not. I'm not sure. So I just pulled them off. I haven't painted this ahead of time, so what I do is kind of just study the image, try to figure out how to paint it, and then we jump in here live and see how it goes. So you never know what you're going to get.
Like how somebody would do their own painting.
True. Yes. So it's, and we do it kind of, informal style with my husband here with me, and just kind of like if you're hanging out with us if I was teaching you at home. So that's how we structure our classes today. So if we are talking about other stuff besides just painting, that's why. So thank you to those who are regular viewers. And if you're a new viewer, we hope you stick around and subscribe and all that good stuff. All right, let's go over our colors. I got a little off center there. There we go. Got carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, quinacridone burnt orange, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow medium, phthalo green yellow shade, ultramarine blue, quinacridone magenta, cadmium red light, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and this is just some gloss glazing liquid. Not sure I'm going to need that very much, but I just pulled it out just in case we do any glazing, which we might do in some of these areas. All right, so I think how we're going to approach this is to do the background first. So work from back to front. So we'll probably fill in this area, do some of the stonework on this wall, do this area in here, and then kind of work the stairs, and then we'll do all of our greenery the very last thing that we do. So I'm going to grab the 6 flat. That'll give me a larger brush to just kind of fill in some of these larger areas here that we've got going on in the background. So if you want the traceable for this, it'll be available after this. I haven't created it yet, but I will do it after the show. It'll probably be available on Patreon either tonight or tomorrow, first thing. So sorry I didn't get it done ahead of time.
Jeez.
It's been a busy week. So, all right.
I know I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, I wonder how much longer I have to sleep before I have to get up for work. And then wait a minute. It's Saturday. Oh, I don't have to get up. My alarm won't go off. Nice. It went by so fast.
I know. You don't have to get up. Well, you did have to for this, so.
Well, yeah, but not at 4 a.m.
No. Definitely not.
That's the safe thing about this job. I know I will never have to get up at 4 o'clock for a show.
That is a given.
Well, unless you haven't gone to bed yet and you decide to do a show.
It's true.
Then that could happen.
That could happen. That would be more like 2 in the morning, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's about as late as I go. All right. Got the Unbleached Titanium, a little bit of Ultramarine Blue, and a little bit of burnt Umber. And I'm making this kind of light gray. Yeah. A little bit, maybe a little bit more on the blue side. I'm just going to turn this, make it easy for me to do. And I'm just going to kind of scrape and allow some of that background texture to show through. There's some like buildings and things back here that we're seeing, but I'm not going to go into any detail on these because they're not really important. They're just kind of back here. So I might kind of get a little bit more of the brown. I am seeing like a touch of like bright blue. So maybe there's like a door back here or something. So I'll go ahead and kind of put a little bit of that in down low here where the greenery is going to cover it somewhat. And then go back in here to this. And there's just like a little peak of these background right up here through the stairway. Okay. And I am seeing, now that I'm looking, I am seeing a little bit of blue up high, so I'll go ahead and put a little bit up there. Okay, so most of this is going to be covered up by the plant that's in front here. So when we do the plant, it'll cover most of this. And I'm just going to get some of the Unbleached Titanium and do just a little bit lighter version and just throw some light highlights on some of that. Okay. And then this wall is part of our rock wall that is facing us. So it's actually kind of like there's a section right here that's sort of the landing that we're seeing. And then our stairs are going to start right about on the third here or so, maybe just a little higher, but that's where that stairway starts. And if you split the canvas in half, that halfway mark is just about where this this opening is here. All right, I'm going to get some white and a little bit of green, a little bit more blue, and mix it with that brown that we had going on before. And this area is bright right here, a little bit brighter than what the area back here is, just slightly. And then it quickly kind of fades into darker. So it's only bright right there where the light is just barely catching it. Might get a little bit more of that white. Just do a little bit more right along that edge. And I'm holding my brush almost flat to the canvas, and then that way it's kind of just barely catching and leaving, you can see lots of that dark brown from the background still showing. Okay, there we go. And get a little bit more of the brown, and I'm just going to angle it up like this way. This wall is kind of angled up, and then this wall is sort of angled, well, to about right here. So these are all kind of, this is sort of our vanishing point just about right here. All of these are sort of pointing in this general direction right in here. And then this is going to be pointing towards it as well. So down here, our focal point is going to be like right about here. And the bottom of the stairs and this wall are kind of pointing to it. All right, then I'm going to get a little bit of burnt umber, do a little bit of warmer brown right in here. Right, kind of on that corner, and then get a little bit more of the burnt umber and do kind of a shadow right here. And get a little bit of that blue and black. I haven't cleaned out my brush. I'm just very, very loosely painting this in. We're not trying to do realism today. We're just going to kind of do a very loose interpretation of what we're seeing. So
now, if they want a realism with the staircase, you did one for Patreon, right?
yes,
You did a bonus
yes, I
video.
did a couple in this style for Patreon.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Those are like 5-hour videos.
Exactly. We're gonna shoot for a couple hours today. And yeah, so if you wanted to do, every little rock and things, then I do have videos on that, but they are, like Mark said, a lot longer. Okay, getting a little bit of the burnt umber, burnt sienna, and quinacridone magenta, unbleached titanium. And just making it a little bit lighter, kind of similar to this color, only a little bit lighter. And there's some blocks that go from this corner out. So I'm just going to kind of go like this, leave a little bit of room between them for that dark. You can see why we did the dark now, hopefully, because this keeps us from having to paint in all these little details. If we have that dark already behind it, we can just use it to our advantage. And there we go. So we've got little bricks there. Gonna go a little bit darker. Just add some detail there. Okay. Good. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the black, a little bit of the burnt umber, ultramarine blue. And I still have this color on my brush. I'm just going to kind of color the back half of these back here. And then there's going to be some plants that are in the way here. So all of this is going to be darkened by plants, and I'm going to go ahead and get the black and just kind of go over that area and make sure that it's nice and dark. Right here, that's going to be behind our plant, and there's some shadows there. Okay. And if you want to, we can put a little bit of black.
Can we dance?
Right here. Two coming around that corner. I don't know what that meant.
You said if you want to.
We can dance if we want to.
So I asked if we could dance.
If you want to. That's what the song said, right?
We have to leave our friends behind.
All right, and then right here, just gonna keep on going, just moving on.
That's normal of our show to all the new people. Just random thoughts from me.
Random thoughts from Mark, and me ignoring you. Check.
Yes, and those are the deepest thoughts I can have. So
I am realizing that this needs to be a little farther over, all of this stuff, because this is like right here. I don't know how I got off that much, but okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move that over because there's a pot right here. Yeah. All right, sorry, we just did all that lovely stonework, and I'm just realizing I kind of messed it up here. I'll need to move it all over. I'm just going put it here. And that's fine. This stuff happens, especially when I'm doing this kind of very random drawing here, very loose drawing. As I get going, I can miss things. So this opening is a little smaller here that I made it right here. And this is farther over. Okay, and then the burnt sienna. Comes up right there and then over. So these are the bricks right here. You can see it's not that hard to move stuff. It's not set in stone. The nice thing with no pun intended, the nice thing with acrylics is that you can cover over them really easily. So, okay, so there we go. We moved that over a little bit, and let's go ahead and put in kind of that dark window-like, whatever that is right there. All right, very good. Then the bottom of it should have some shadow right here. So just kind of make sure there's a little bit of shadow right there. And then I'm going to start grabbing my white here. A little bit of white, a little bit more of the Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber. And right here from this corner, the top of the staircase, let me grab a little bit of unbleached titanium. I'm going to mark out that top stair just so that I kind of have a reference. I'm just going to tap along it so that I see where it is. So it's right in there. And there's a pot sitting right here. Somewhere, right in here. Just doing it in this color so that I have it marked out there. And then there'll be all of this greenery all through here that's covering all of this. And then right in here, it's going to start showing some of this dark, or some of the light's going to catch the stonework here. And what I'm going to do is just hold my brush at an angle. Now I'm going to show you how to do this with a palette knife too. So you can do this with a brush or palette knife. Either one works. As long as you have a kind of a stiff bristle brush that's not laying down too much paint at any one given time, it'll work fine for you. So it comes down at an angle like this. Again, our finishing point's kind of in here. So as it goes down, it's going to kind of shift a little bit. So these ones up here are going to be kind of close together and facing down there. I'm going to get some burnt sienna. And I'm just going to do different colors here on this stonework. So not all if it is this color, just adding different colors. And really just pushing that paint around and letting it kind of drag and catch on the canvas. I'm not painting in the stones. And really, if you look at the photograph, they're not really all painted in this area anyways. It's pretty, pretty random. All right, let's go ahead and get a palette knife and I'll show you the difference with the palette knife. So we'll use this one here. And I've got this color here, so I'm just going to scrape through it so the color forms a line right there on it. And I'm just going to set it down kind of at an angle and scrape across and just kind of use the same line as we were using before. Now you can see when I do this though, it's making, it makes a line there where I started. So I can do it this way so I don't get as much of a line, or if I do get a line, it goes kind of along the line of those stones. I can go back over that with some of the dark too. Blend it in. I think I'm going to stick with my brush, though. I'm pretty happy with it for now. So I think I will use the palette knife on the stairs because I'll want that straight edge like what we got right there. But for this, I think I want a brush because I can get these smaller little dots and things. So sometimes I'm going to want to, you know, press down a little harder and do like some stones and things.
I want that.
And the nice thing about these kind of, you know, paintings, what were you saying?
I just said, I want that.
I want that. The nice thing about these kind of paintings is that it's super random, you know, like the painting itself, the building is all, you know, all these weird angles and things. So nothing's ever really square very much. So it kind of frees you up a little bit, takes the pressure off, I think, getting it just perfect, you know, like a modern building might, you know, be like a skyscraper or having to be, you know, exact measurements. These ones, this is all kind of very random, loose. None of these bricks are the same size or, you know, shape. All these stones fitting into one another. So I've just got all these different colors. Really, I'm just going to use a random assortment of colors. So I've got the black, the burnt umber, the burnt sienna, the quinacridone burnt orange. I'm going to start adding some yellows. I've got the unbleached titanium white and the blue, and I'm using all of them kind of randomly interspersed. So if you're like, she's not telling me the colors, just, you know, I'm really just kind of intuitively painting quickly, grabbing color to color and not really thinking too hard about any one area so that I can kind of move quickly with it. I find that it's just easier for me when I'm doing this kind of painting not to overthink it too much. I think when I start to think about where every little brush stroke is going, that's when I kind of start to overdo and make, when I'm trying to stay loose, I should say, because when I'm painting it realistically, I am kind of being a little bit more deliberate about where things are going and such. But when I'm trying to paint loosely, then I find that it's a little easier just to kind of go quickly and look at my reference photo. And I'm always referencing the photo. And I would say that if you're new to, you know, painting and you're wanting to do, you know, something like this or have an idea of a scene that you want to do, I would say get some reference photos. Even if you can't find a photo that's exactly what you want to paint, at least find a photo that's got, or photos that has, you know, good, clear, make that a little bit brighter right there. Pull that forward. Good, clear reference photos are what's going to make the difference with making it easier to paint more realistically. So, all right, just going. So I'm constant. What I was saying there was I'm constantly like referring back to the reference photo. And just checking my colors and things. I don't have to go exactly by the photo. I can kind of move things around if I need to. But in this case, I'm, you know, pretty much sticking to the...
I'm sure somebody moves those pots around to water them and stuff.
Exactly.
So they're not always in the same spot.
Right. Exactly.
No. Well, our police may come and arrest you.
Why?
For moving the pots in your picture.
The art police, yeah.
So we might have to go underground.
They are on the patrol.
We need to go in the art protection program. Wear wigs and stuff.
Okay.
I already wear glasses, so maybe not wear glasses.
That would be hard to find my way around if I didn't wear my glasses.
True, we wouldn't get very
super
far.
Blind. I know. And it really hard. It's. I've noticed that it's harder for me to see straight lines. It's weird. like there's I didn't really notice it until we got something. What was it? We got a big rail for something in the mail, and I thought it was bent. I literally thought it was bent, and it wasn't. But because my glasses they're progressive, it looked like the ends of it were bent, and I was like getting really mad. And then I realized if I turned it just the right way, I was like, holy moly, how long has it been like this? And I've been thinking everything's, I'm sure it affects my drawing.
The world is flat.
I know. Oh, wow. I was like, my glasses distort things majorly. Anything outside of my, it here is distorted. If I'm not looking at it straight on. All right, so just adding some of these rocks now, rock shapes, and just kind of using the edge of my brush here to draw them in. They're all kind of different shapes. They are kind of rounded at the top, most of them. Kind of rounded at the top, well, really both sides, but the bottoms are a little bit darker, so really kind of. All right, so there is in my photograph, there is a wall here. Oh, I have my thing way zoomed in. Let me change there we go. In my photograph, there's like a wall right here, you can see. So I'm debating taking that out. I don't really think it adds anything to it. And I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of put a plant here and pretend like we can see this. Maybe it's an open court or something like that. Anytime something like doesn't really add to the story in your photograph, don't feel like you have to keep it in there. So I'm gonna take it out.
So like that time you took a picture of me in front of my apartment?
Right, and cropped your head.
You cut my head out
so that I could get the flowers in the shot.
Because it didn't add anything to the story.
Right. They could see your feet, your legs. They knew you were there.
They knew.
They knew you were there.
It was implied I had a head.
Right. That was before digital. That I have to say, digital has saved my bacon.
But there was a viewfinder, right?
I'm just saying that,
okay, all right.
Maybe my focus issues started a long time ago. Who knows?
Like, oh, look, a flower.
Exactly.
My boyfriend, a flower. Let's see.
Yeah. I don't know.
We got a question.
Okay.
Somebody would like to know, is carbon black softer than Mars black?
No, carbon black's just a little shinier than Mars black. That's all. They're about the same intensity. I can show you the comparison sheet here. So, oops. There's Mars black and there's carbon black. And there's ivory and bone. Ivory's a little bit more transparent, slightly, I find, or a little bit more brown. Bone also a little bit more on the brown side. And Mars black and carbon black are this one may be a little bit more blue, just slightly more blue. But yeah, and if you look at the sheen, you can really see it in the sheen. See how much shinier that one is. Then the Mars black is more flat. So they're both great. So if you have Mars, you can substitute for carbon black and don't feel like you have to go out and buy a new black. You're good. And if you're like me, I have to have all of them. That's all. Only a few of us are freakish that way. I'm guilty.
Hi, my name is Angela. Hi, Angela. It's been 2 days since I bought a tube of paint.
Yeah, exactly. Or shoes.
I don't know if that's true.
No, yeah, that's true. I did buy some yesterday, I think.
Our UPS guy is getting tired.
He is. He's like, seriously, I'm returning 90% of them.
Yeah.
I just,
Now that is
I'm
true.
too
Yeah.
lazy to go to the store. It's much easier to have them.
And they can't send them all at the same time. It's like
Right.
one today and one tomorrow.
Right. All in different boxes.
It's like,
I am keeping the UPS man in
he has a job.
business.
Yep.
Yes. Single-handedly. I'm trying to buy my summer sandals. So, all right. So there we go. I think we're done with that wall. Not too bad.
And you have a tutorial or something, right? That for the color chart.
Yes. I think I talked about it in the color mixing video. I think I did last year, so I think it's in that.
Is there something on your website with the?
Yes, you can download it on my website. That blank chart.
Right, and
And then what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
And then I think I also might have it the filled in version available too on my website. I'm not sure if it's available on there or not, but it's
highly recommended that you make your own.
yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah,
because the paint coming out of your tubes could have a slightly different tint than the paint coming out of our tubes.
right. And yeah, it's just different. Different monitors are gonna, and printers are gonna print it differently. So you'll get a more accurate color thing if you do it yourself. But it's not. You don't have to. It just. All right. This is mixing up my two yellows and my unbleached titanium, some white here, and doing this wall light yellow. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go down with it, leaving a little bit of the brown showing here and there.
And the interesting thing is, for me, that each tube of the golden paint has a hand-painted swath of the paint that's in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, because each batch will have a slightly different tint and so forth, so they just do it all by hand.
Well, their golden is pretty good about. They're different between manufacturers, not in the same manufacturer. The same manufacturer is pretty much going to have it spot on. They have a formula and they add the same amount, so it's not going to really vary. I don't find in the same manufacturer, but a ultramarine blue from golden is going to be different a little bit from an ultramarine blue in a different brand. So that's why you can see. On here where I have multiple colors of the same color. So alizarin crimson here. This is Liquitex Basics, Winsor Newton, and MG is M Graham. So I have three different. And then this is Quinacridone Red in the Matisse. Matisse and Golden there. And you can see how they're just slightly different. So.
Right, I'm not suggesting there's like a super major difference, but they can't mix it 100% exactly the same for every batch.
Right.
So anyways, but that's a good lesson about different brands too.
Mm-hmm.
You should have a YouTube channel teaching this stuff.
Okay. I try.
Oh no, you're Yoda. You do.
I do. Okay. All right. So there's our little. We're too zoomed in, hon.
Sorry.
There's our little side area there, and I don't really think I'm going to do much more than that. I might come back to that and add a little bit, but I'm not going to really focus too much energy on that. I might even put a pot right here and just like a little plant. We'll see. But now this front walkway here. I'm just going to spray this down. Get a little bit of white. And I'm going about right in here. I'm not going to go all the way to this corner because this is so dark back in here, but I'm going to go kind of up to where the potted plants are, and then we'll probably glaze this area to add our shadow back in. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, and it's kind of, there are stones here, so if you want to do that, we can come back in. It's really, they're all very light though, so there's not a lot of this dark showing. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of paint in most of this.
And you used the same brush so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, Aspen something.
6 flat.
Aspen 6 flat.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
So hello, everybody. Again, I think you said hello.
I did.
Sort of at the beginning there.
Yeah. Right. I'm trying to include a little different intro this, if I remember, just to make sure that people know what they're in for when they start watching, and that way we don't have any mean comments about us talking about other stuff. Maybe we'll see. We'll probably still get them, but
ain't no stopping that.
No, no, we got too many people that think their opinion needs to be heard about how we should do things. So that's okay. I'm used to it. All right, and coming down like this. So kind of where that angles to this corner here, coming down here, angles in. This angles in towards it as well, right there on that side. Leaving a little bit of that dark. And then there's going to be a pot right here. So I'm just going to bring that right up to it and curve it down this way. Okay, there we go. Now, I think I'm going to use the burnt sienna. And this paint's still wet, so I'm just going to kind of use the corner of my brush and draw in some random field, like some stone shapes in here, kind of. And they're going slightly at an angle. And I don't think this is level here. It's kind of angling down this way.
Mm-hmm. Probably to help with the water drainage.
Mm-hmm. You would think of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Engineer, speak here. Water drainage.
Get a whole bunch of good stuff here on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it true, some of it made up. You have to figure it out yourself.
True that. Get a little bit of the burnt sienna. I got a little bit of green there too, just adding a little bit of moss to the stones down on this side. And it kind of creeps out on the ground right here. A little bit, just kind of dirtying up that corner just slightly. Bring it up the side of the buildings slightly too. Okay. Oh, I think there's like a step or something right here. don't think I'm going to paint that in. I don't think it matters. It's not visible enough to really be able to tell what it is. Okay, so now just kind of going back through with my highlight color and just touching it on different parts of that to give it a second. I find at least 2 to 3 values is where you want to be when on any kind of given area. It's just what helps give it depth. So we started with that dark brown. We can still see a little bit of that. So that's our dark version. Then we've got the lighter mid-tone on top. And now we're going with the lightest highlight tone. And the highlight tone should be your least used color. So it should be very random and sparsely placed. And that'll keep it looking more realistic. Because your highlight color is what's going to draw your eye, so you don't want the whole thing to be blaring with highlights, because then your eyes doesn't really have a focal point to go to. It'll all wash everything out. So you don't want it washed out. You want it to have, you know, some areas where your light is catching. And there we go. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of this on this wall. Just, we've already got a little bit variation, but just go ahead and give it a little extra, you know, depth of color. Just another little layer here. Okay, good. Let's paint our orange wall. Thus the orange fingernail polish today. It's not going to be exactly that color, but close enough. All right, I'm going to use the Cadmium Red Medium, or I'm sorry, Cadmium Red Light. It's got this really vivid orange. And of course, this is going to be way too bright, right? So to tone it down, I'm going to add a little bit of the Quinacridone Burnt Orange. That's going to kind of make it a little bit more reddish. And then I'm going to take some of it over here and add some yellow oxide. That will make it more of a yellow for some of the highlight areas. And then I'm going to use the burnt sienna. I'm going to add that over here. See how that tones it down? Now it's more of a rusty orange. That's closer to what we want it to be. There we go. Pretty. So we'll go ahead and use that.
Okay, so does that just come with years of experience on knowing, okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of this color, a little bit of that color, and a tad bit of this to get what you want?
Yeah, because, you know, like when I add a new color to my arsenal, I don't usually know exactly what it's going to do, you know, because each color kind of has its own weird quirks and things. Like phthalo blue and brown makes teal. Like, who would think that, you know? So you kind of, and like when I add ultramarine blue to this, it makes purple. Like, you know, you just don't know until you get it out and start playing with it. So I've used these colors enough to know, you know, there are some neutrals like burnt sienna and brown that, you know, for the most part will just make things a little bit more toned. You know, it just kind of tones things down a little bit. But it is helpful to kind of know how they're going to react to your paint color, you know, somewhat. But a lot of times when I want to tone things down, I'll just add a little bit of brown to them and just see what happens. But like I said, you know, sometimes the brown does unexpected things. So it's always an adventure when you're painting. But yeah, the more that you paint with a certain palette of colors, the more you kind of know what they're going to do, and you can expect certain results, you know, from them, mixing them. But that's where and this hopefully will dry a little bit darker than this. It looks pretty bright right now going on. I might add a little bit of the burnt umber to this lighter version. A little bit of the unbleached titanium. Okay, a little bit more of the yellow. There we go. But yeah, I would say, you know, having a color mixing book is helpful. So when I, you know, the other day I was using a color that I hadn't used in a while, Quinacridone Red, and I mixed it with Phthalo Green Blue shade and Cadmium Yellow Medium to make colors, and I was using Prussian Blue and mixing those with different yellows and blues or yellows and oranges and things to make different colors. And so I made a chart just so that I kind of knew how they would react to one another. And then that way it kind of helps me have a record of my color mixes. And then the more I use it, the more it just becomes, I won't have to refer to my chart or anything. I'll just know how it mixes. But having a color notebook like that is kind of helpful, I find. Just to play, mix colors, see what they do. All right, so just mixed that kind of lighter yellow, I can hear myself. All righty.
That sounds good, huh?
No, I always think my voice sounds really weird when I re-listen.
But not as weird as mine.
You don't talk like that normal though. You're
like what?
Yeah,
I talk like this all the time.
You do not.
Well, I try not to. This is my normal voice.
That's
here.
Your normal voice, yeah. But you do get kind of deeper when you.
Well, I try to go loud so that I don't get picked up in your microphone and my microphone.
That's why you kind of whisper talk.
Right.
I see.
Because I can pull your microphone down and talk more normal, but then sometimes I forget to put you all the way back up, and then you're a little lower than you should be. So
I see.
First world problems.
That's why we get comments about people saying that you should do voiceovers and things.
Yes. Welcome to the art channel. Wow. Come on in,
Hi, Fitzy. Here comes the puppy. How you doing? Oh no, I'm busy. I'm doing dog things. I got stuff to do. Just came in to say hi and run back out.
He's over here.
Oh, he's with Daddy, getting loves.
Gonna thump you a little bit. Go. Were you all running around?
All right. So right in here, this crease is really dark. I'm going to get the Quinacridone Burnt Orange and just use it in here. And then kind of blend out this corner. Whoop. A little bit more of this lighter version with yellow and unbleached titanium.
Okay, we got a couple questions. So somebody asked, so you find painting the color chart relaxing?
Yeah, absolutely. Why, they don't?
I don't know. It was just a question.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody said, Angela said brown and phthalo blue make teal. So does she mean burnt umber as
Burnt
the brown?
sienna.
Burnt sienna.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't have phthalo blue out right now, but
That's fine.
burnt sienna and phthalo blue make a dark teal color. And I use it for water a lot. So if you've watched any of my water videos, I have it usually probably been used it. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this darker. Get a little bit of burnt sienna too, but use that up in here.
Okay, so to be clear, brown is burnt sienna.
Brown is burnt umber, burnt sienna. Any of these two, okay. Sometimes I call them brown, but burnt sienna and phthalo blue make teal. Burnt umber and phthalo blue make a kind of greenish dark gray too. But the prettier teal color is the burnt sienna with the phthalo blue.
Right,
burnt umber and this make like a flat gray. That's what I've used over here. And depending on how much brown you use, you can make a warm brown gray, or if you use more blue, you make a blue gray. And when I mix the Quinacridone burnt orange with my phthalo blue, or Ultramarine Blue, see how that makes it purple? Makes a really pretty purple. So, which you wouldn't think of with an orange and a blue to make a purple, but they both have enough of a reddish undertone that they make a purple instead of a opposite. So, alrighty. And I'm not gonna do much more blending than that because it's real messy in this photograph. If you look at it, it's not, none of these corners are clean corners or, anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go over this just a little bit with my brighter orange, but I'm gonna kind of leave this corner here just a little bit sloppy. Maybe get a little bit of that lighter color and come along this arch and just do a little bit of, hey Papas, what you doing? What are you doing, puppy? Mama's barking. What are you barking about? What? Hi, I see you. I'm busy. What are you growling about? He wants somebody to play with it. You talking? You're just talking. Got stuff to do, Dad. So I'm going to go ahead and use this purple. Might as well. Fitzpickle, what are you barking about? What? Let's go ahead and use it up in here. So there's kind of a lighter. He wants to go out. Yeah. Okay. There. Silly dog. I'm going to use a little bit of the ultramarine blue and green and some of the brown. Make it dark. Neutral brownish green. Use it in this corner here. It's really dark right in here. And I'm going to add the black to the burnt umber, burnt sienna color here. And just do it in this upper part right there. So you're seeing a little bit into that archway. You're seeing the underside of that archway. That's what this is right here. So, and then this is all this part of the wall above the door. Here. Okay, and then there's an area right here that's kind of broken plaster. So I'm going to switch to a smaller brush for that. get my 1/4-inch blender, and it's kind of this, we'll go ahead and use this same purplish color, grab a little bit of this yellow with it, and just going to set it down and just kind of scumble the color by kind of scrubbing it side to side a little bit and letting it skip around, kind of like we did the rocks. It's just a smaller brush, so I can kind of control it a little bit better. There, I'm going to get some of this lighter orange color and put it up here above it. And like the paint's kind of chipping and peeling away. And again, so we've got that color down. So let's go ahead and just add another color to this, like a little bit of burnt umber here to this, just another value. And go ahead and put some of that in here in our little patch of peeling paint or stone reveal. I'm going to go ahead and put some of this up here too. This is going to be too light, but actually grab a little bit of burnt umber to make it a little darker. Come on. There we go.
So we got some mail this week.
We did. We got a really fun package from Beth Mulligan, one of our mods. She sent us some Bob Ross mugs and some earrings for me.
Yeah.
Excited.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth. That was really sweet.
I mean, we don't require our mods to send us gifts, but we really appreciate it.
I know. It's very sweet.
So yeah, I haven't used the mug yet.
No, we left it in the package, but
Yeah.
it color changes.
Yeah, so but I'm going to.
I'm excited to try it. I might have to steal it
What?
from him.
No. And also, a slight little bone to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Your gift came first class.
Right.
Mine came standard
Right.
mail, so I don't get that, but okay.
She was worried about mine getting there.
But you are first class.
Oh,
I'm not
thanks.
so much. I'm more coach.
You're coach kind of guy.
I'm standby.
I'll go with you. Okay, get some of that quinacridone burnt orange here. Pull it down from the shadow. I'm taking my time on this because this is kind of our focal point wall here. This is a big part of the focal point of the whole piece, so I'll make sure that I get it in kind of the way I want it to be. I'm using a little bit more of that burnt umber with this. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it because I'm just fussing now. And let's go ahead and use the burnt umber, burnt sienna, quinacridone burnt orange over here. I'm making the wood tone. I'm going to add just a little bit of that orange or the red, but not as much. And the wood on the door is kind of this bright orange. I'm going to add some yellow to it as well. There we go. Just kind of make it a little bit of a warmer orangey red. I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush. So for the door, let's go ahead and use this one here. This is too flat, and this will get me smaller little angles and things. I need to make this door a little bit darker though. Let me get a little bit of the black and see. What happens when I add my cadmium red light to the black. A little bit of burnt sienna, yellow. There we go. I just need a little bit darker, and I think what I might do is glaze the door with some orange just to make it more orange. Okay, so I'm going to do this outside edge here. I'm going to go all the way down. And the very top of it is very dark, so I'm going to get the black and go up here with the black. Do the inner upper part of that door in black. That corner. Same as up in here, just making sure that it's nice and dark. And I'm going to go ahead and, while I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and glaze, get my glaze, and glaze up this part. With a little bit of black while I'm thinking about it, because I might forget. Just right there. There we go. Okay. So there's the outside, and then there's these shutters that come down. There's the wood right there. And then there's some panels right here. Now this is shorter than the other one, but I kind of made them equal size just because I wanted to. But if you want, you can make this side a little bit smaller. It's up to you. Okay, so kind of just leaving a little bit of that dark here and there to indicate the panel. And I'm going to get some of my Unbleached Titanium and my brush and use that to highlight those just a little bit, and highlight the top, leave a little space, and then highlight below, leave a little space right there. And then the sides aren't as highlighted, but there's a little on either side. So just leaving a little space there, and honestly not being super careful about getting these even or anything like that. Okay, I'm getting some more to do the middle. Again, leaving a little bit of that dark. this side here has got some of that side of the door. I guess I am making them a little bit smaller on this side. All right, and then I'm going to outline my shutters. You could use a ruler for this if you wanted to. They're pretty much straight off, so this is pretty squared off to the viewer, so you don't have a lot of angles here. It makes it a lot easier. It's not too difficult to get these in. All right, and then I'm going to do the shutters with a little bit more of the lighter color, and just leave a little bit of the space between them. If you had a brush that was exactly this width, you could just do this in one touch, but mine's not quite going all the way across, so oops, touched a little bit too much there. Go a little faster. My brush is trying to curve on me. Keep it flat. There we go. No, I didn't do a very good job on this one. Let's see if I can get those off before I try and try that again. And we will clean these up here in a minute, so if these look messy, that's okay. We're going to clean up the edges. All right, let's try this again. Try to keep these straight this time. Ideally, you have exactly the same amount. I don't think I do, but I wasn't being very careful. All right, and then getting the brown burnt umber. I'm going to get a little bit of the glaze. And I'm just going to go along this side with it and glaze this edge of them. Wiping that off, and I'm just going to pull that glaze in over it a little bit. What that'll do is kind of just set those in there into the door. Do a little bit on this side too. And then any of them that need touching up on the inside, we can do that as well. Just going to kind of darken up that whole side there a little bit. There we go. And then I can use the Cadmium Red Light to do some of my highlights on the door to make it a little bit more orange. use some of that darker brown to make sure that I have a nice dark shadow underneath my shutter area right there. Yeah, on this side here. Darken up the bottom there where it touches down. This is that dark brown here that I'm just using to kind of do some sort of I'm going to get a little bit of that orange, just add a little hint of the orange on here. I feel like they're not quite the right color. Okay, I think we're going to leave that there. Get a little bit of the dark and just add it to this corner here where it goes in, just right there. Kind of bleeds out around that corner just slightly. Okay. Let's do our stairs and then we can do our flowers. We'll be done. So an hour in, not a little over an hour. Not bad. Making decent time.
Looking good.
Like I said, that's our kind of, you know, take your time on that part because that's going to be one thing that draws your eye in. It's not perfect. My lines are not straight, and this kind of painting I'm not really worried about that because it's so kind of impressionist anyways. You know, if you want to, you can, you know, like I said, use a ruler or whatever and really make it straight and get it more perfect. But I'm gonna fix that though. That's not supposed to be that dark right there. And there's actually a little handle too that I missed. There's like a little handle in the door right here.
They would like to know that when you rinse your brush in your water, do you rub the bristles up against the bottom?
Yeah. When I want to clean it all the way, if I'm just rinsing it a little bit, then usually not.
So depending on the
But yeah,
situation.
like when I'm doing that, I have a little tray right here that it's hitting. When I'm just picking up a little bit of water, no. But if you see me do like that, then yes, I am cleaning it against the bottom there. There's a little mat on the ground here. I'm going to put that. It's angled out. Okay. Alrighty, and then let's go ahead and I'm going to grab some of the blue, a little bit of that brown that we had right here, but mostly blue, and some glaze. And I'm going to glaze onto the bricks right here. Out. I haven't put the plants yet, but it'll just give us a starting place for them. They're all going to go in here. I'm going to use a bigger brush for this. Just kind of. Like that. So it comes out to about just like this line here, that blue. Right, I'm going to use a little bit of it on the wall too. Ultramarine blue, a little bit of this brown that I had over here, just to tone it down slightly. I'm going to use it in this corner, all up this wall, right here, and all along right here. Just the wall is already dark right there, so you may not have to do this if you've already made yours kind of dark, but I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and dark back here. It has a nice shadow. And that glaze just keeps it transparent so that we're not covering up our bricks and stones, just darkening them slightly. Okay, there we go. And there's a doorway right here. If you want to put that in, you can do that. I'm not going to, I don't think. I don't really want to mess with that wall at all. Mark's saying no. He's like, no, no, no.
Good decision.
Don't start something else. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the 4 bright here. This is a shorter brush. Going to give me a little bit more control. And I'm going to scrape off all this gray that we have going on from before, because it's all dry now, so I can't use it anymore. Give me some room to work here. I don't think any of this is really usable. Okay.
It's like, what does that sound? Like, oh, okay. So we get questions about this time. So that is the Posh New Wave glass palette.
Yeah.
If you check below the video, there's links to Amazon, and go to the art supply section of Angela's store, and it's in there.
Yes.
And the scraper is suggested as an additional buy by Amazon, so you can get the scraper and the Posh
It's
palette.
in there, yeah. I think I have both of them in the thing. All right, starting with that dark brown ultramarine blue mixture. May add a little bit of the more brown, a little bit of the unbleached titanium to it, and I'm going to go up here. This is the walkway rail, kind of, that goes right there. Not really rail, but whatever. And here's some stone right here that starts right in here. Kind of facing us. This is the front side of that. Okay, so right in there. Do a little bit of a lip there. Okay, so that's that, and it's all crumbly around this corner here, and it just kind of crumbles into that I don't know if this is brick or it looks like it's painted stucco like this. It's got a little bit of that color, so I'm just gonna leave that. I kind of painted that dark-ish, reddish color, and then we're gonna do all kinds of plants and stuff in here in front of it, so most of this is covered up, so don't do too much detail on this part. Most all of this is covered up by this plant that's sitting right here too. All right, then I'm gonna grab some more of this unbleached titanium. Get some yellow oxide. And let's just go ahead and kind of start. I'm going to kind of brush through so I have multiple colors on here. So, and not kind of overblend it. So I'm going to skip it around. There's just a little bit of a stone step showing right there. And you could tape that off if you didn't want to cover it, but I think it'll be fine. We'll just paint around it and hope for the best. I'm going to do just underneath. I'm going to do the, what are they called? The part of the stair that faces you. They've got a name. I can't remember the name of it.
The riser?
Yes, because I'm going to paint the risers first.
Yes. I get bonus points for that.
I don't know. I'm guessing that's right.
It sounds right.
I think it sounds right too.
Don't nobody go check. Fact check. It's fine. It's real.
Gonna make some gray here. Blue, burnt umber. That's some white. Okay, yeah, add that to that yellow. Again, there's all kinds of different colors here happening, so I'm just going to use a variety of colors on these. And they are kind of individual stones, so if you want to, mark them out, you can. As far as like leaving a little bit of dark space through. Don't worry about this dark area here. We're gonna add in back our shadows. Okay, so I think I will kind of do it. I like it that look better. Just kind of skipping around and leaving just a little bit of space there for the look of that rock. That's a little higher. How you doing, hon?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Somebody had a question about, they're looking for a new palette and they weren't sure between a glass palette or like a stay wet palette. And
the stay wet palettes are nice if you're in a humid area and you finish a painting in one setting. Usually, that would be. I would not use a stay wet palette to keep your paints wet in between paintings. I tried that. It didn't work out very well for me because it might go 3 or 4 days between using it, and then I would end up with mold or mildew on my paints, or not on my paints, but on the sponge, and then the paints get kind of soupy, like they literally turn to goo. So like I said, if you're in a humid area and you have really trouble, keeping your paints wet while you're working, then I would get one and just make sure you clean it out and let it dry out in between uses somewhat. I found them a little bit difficult to work with just because when I sit down to paint, I just want to get down to it. I don't want to do a lot of prep work. And they require you to like soak the sponge and that kind of thing. And so, I do find that the glass palette dries out faster though. So, keep that in mind. The paper palette's probably good. The foam palette, just, foam plate. I used that for years and those worked good. I'm adding my top part of the stair now with a little bit of the highlight color. So yeah, it kind of depends on, what you need. But I've used all of them at different points in my, so.
So the Stay Wet palette is primarily to try to keep the paints moist while you're painting, not to try to preserve them over time.
They preserve fine, but, like I said, I wouldn't do it for more than a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah, after about a day, they start to get kind of soupy and you're supposed to leave less water in your sponge when you do that. So I never would remember to do that. So I'm just, like I said, they required too much thought for me. I just wanted to get down to the actual painting. And okay, so next one here, I did the risers because I was having a hard time, keeping track of where's what. So it's just helping me. Or I did the step actual part, the step here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. This is that part of the step that you can see. And then some of them have like a little bit of a lip, like up in here, and some of them don't. So like this one has kind of a lip. So I'm going to kind of put a little bit of the dark underneath, like a shadow there. And then, some of these just kind of go from this part of the stone, so you don't have to do that. Okay. Yeah, these are coming out all right. It's all right. Getting a little bit of the white, and as they get down closer to us, we're seeing more of the actual step. So just a little bit of the step peeking through. So like in here. All right, getting some of the bit darker with the highlights, a little bit darker tone than what we've been using, and just using that up here on the step, kind of pulling down for these stones. this is kind of sticking out right here and hanging down.
So Angela mentioned it earlier. Over on patreon.com/AngelaFineArt, we have traceables, bonus content, tutorials, and stuff like that. So if you're new to the channel, you can go check that out. And when it's a monthly subscription, and it gives you access to all of the prior content in there. So you don't just get this month's content, you get everything that's been posted in there at that level.
Right. Since 2017.
Yes. So you got like 4 years worth of material in there.
Bonus videos and stuff. Yeah, things that you don't see on YouTube. Those are mostly more in-depth videos, like we said about, like we've had other videos similar to this that we did on there. And this month we just finished I don't have it over here, just finished our bonus video. We're working on this right now. I'll show you how far we've gotten on this. So we've gotten like this part done. This is our $10 level video. We've got this whole half still left to do. All this yellow is going to be rocks like this back in here. So this is 2 weeks worth, probably 4 or 5, almost 5 hours on it so far. And we've got at least 2 to 3, probably 4 more hours on it to finish. There's some seabirds and things too to do. So those are our Thursday videos. Those we do weekly and finish when we finish. So, we work on one project until we finish it. And sometimes it takes 6 hours, and sometimes it takes 10. It just depends on how long, how complicated it is. And then this was the bonus video for this month, the $5 level, and that was about 5 hours, I think, to finish that in one setting. That's once a month, just one video that we do for the $5 level. So that's the difference between those two levels. Plus the $10 people get their own Facebook group where they get to vote on what we paint and that kind of thing.
And ask questions and things like that.
Right. They get more critiques and things. I haven't had time to spend on social media as much as I used to. I used to spend a lot more time kind of answering questions and stuff, but since I started Patreon, it just, it kind of sucks the time. I don't have time to do as much as I want, but I do take time to do stuff in that Facebook group for patrons, so. All right, I'm getting there. Just adding a little bit more highlight down there. And this is really, I like how this is turning out. That's good. Again, just adding different colors here and there. It's always good to have kind of a variety. I'll probably go back in and glaze some different browns in there to kind of give different tones. I'm going to get some of this light gray with the white.
Do you remember your nail color?
Yeah, it's a weird color. It's nails incorporated, and I think it's like Kensington Park or something like that. They named them all British streets.
Oh, okay.
But I think they do like limited runs, so I don't know if they even make it anymore. This was a couple years ago that I bought it, I think. And I've switched to OPI because it lasts longer, and I remember why, because I already chipped this one. And I did it like literally last night, just before I went to bed. I have to do that because I'm bad with my nails.
I know it's, we hate to not speak nicely about stuff, but I mean, you touched one nail to see if it was dry and messed it up, so you had to redo it.
Yeah.
And then just in the event of just normal life, that one's already messed up.
I know.
And it's just,
I know.
you
It's
spend
just
the time.
Yeah, so I'm hard on nails, I guess. But I find that the OPI does the Infinite Shine one. Those are the ones that I've been using lately. They seem to do better for me. I can go a couple days without them chipping. Yeah, sorry. Don't mean to say anything bad. Their colors are gorgeous. I really prefer the colors in Nails Incorporated. I wish that I could get them to last. Yeah, it might be something I'm doing, but just
yeah. That's why I stopped using them too.
Quiet.
Out there gardening, I just couldn't deal with it all the time.
Right. Yeah. Just not worth the time when you're constantly
exactly
nagging them.
Plus, I bite my nails, so there's that too.
Spencer does that too. Spencer bites them down to the quick so that they get all gnarly.
Somebody comments on my thumbnail sometimes.
Yeah, so, I do, because Mark lets his thumbnails grow out way too long. Way too long.
We'll be holding hands, and then she'll just start like, you need to cut that.
I know, it's so, I don't know. It's like, I don't know why it bothers me. It's the weirdest thing. It just like, it really does. It's like, I don't have that many things that I'm like, particular about.
That's true.
But that's one of them. It's just kind of, I don't know why.
That and me wearing a white t-shirt for like 3 months straight last year.
Right. I did mention that. I was like, so I do laundry like, every couple weeks, a week or two. I don't know. Whenever we kind of start to run out of clean clothes. And my pile is, I'm not kidding you, 3 times bigger than Mark's. Easily 3 times bigger. I'm like, why? What is going on? Because I'm like, I'm not like, I wear my clothes usually like a couple times before they go in the trash, into the, wash. Mark, you must be wearing yours like 5 all week long. That's the only thing that I can think. Literally,
we
not
shouldn't be
changing.
Talking about this on
I'm
air.
just saying. I'm like, what is going on? And then he's like, yeah, no, I've been wearing that. And it was like all white t-shirts. That's all. And I realized he'd just been wearing, during COVID, since he hadn't had to work, he was just wearing the same white t-shirt for like 2 weeks.
I had to work. I just didn't have to go to work.
That's true. Yes, you were.
I was working from home.
But you got to wear whatever you
wanted.
wanted.
So if my bosses are listening, I was working. Despite what my wife just said.
Yes, he was working. He was out on the back porch working. He just was working in a white t-shirt. Guess It could have been worse. It could have been a wife beater white t-shirt. So it's not that.
Yeah,
that bad.
I don't want to show the guns to all
in
the neighbors.
In the U.S., a wife beater is a tank top, with no sleeve, the sleeveless type.
A white tank top, usually ribbed.
It's called it's just a slang wife beater. That's what it's called. I don't know how it got that name, but it's just a goofy redneck term. Yeah. So sorry. I just realized what I sounded like. I was like, no, that's not what I meant. I don't want to get anybody leaving weird comments.
Yeah.
Not making fun of that at all.
So we'll spend the next 15 minutes explaining ourselves.
Yeah. Just backtrack there.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to, distract all the neighbors with the gun show by wearing a tank top. So.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at over
No,
there?
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. It's annoying when the neighbors start showing up to take pictures and stuff.
Between the mismatched shorts and shirts and hair not combed or anything, I mean, I'm a spectacle to watch mow the yard.
Hey, we go together. I don't comb my hair either. Okay, doing the dark here. So it just kind of gets dark along here, and we'll just glaze it. So if you get it too bright, that's fine. We'll just glaze it. Now, one thing I did notice, like when I was drawing it, the top of the stair will all kind of come to the same point, you know. So this top corner, just make sure those are all kind of lining up about the same spot there, and then you'll be right. You know, get that angle, whatever that angle is, and just make sure the top corners there are all kind of hitting that. And then the pots are actually going to go in front of that, but so this is not the actual end of the stair. It's actually being covered up. There's a pot here and here and here and all up and down there. But all right, let me get the burnt umber here. I'm just going to kind of go along the front end of these where the stone is kind of cut in and comes over the top right here. Kind of like that rough cut. And then down here, I'm just going to get that unbleached titanium. Just use it all in here. Do you think I should do the grate or just do stone? I don't know. I probably should do the grate, I guess, since it's there. Does it matter? Right here at the bottom of the stairs. Doesn't matter.
You can miss a drainage thing.
Okay.
Because there's a grate in the pathway too you didn't do, so.
Oh, that's true. Okay, we're just going to pretend like this is the, you know, they don't need that grate there. If you want to do it, you can. We're just going to do stone. And up in that corner, just getting that blue, brown combo and kind of coming back with that. Oh, that's really dark.
And again, this is where people can make the painting their own. So grate or no grate.
Right.
All the plants, some of the plants, none of the plants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can just kind of
Right.
make it your own.
The walkway and the stairs is not conducive to a tank, but we might be able to fit one in there somewhere. But it's kind of like one of those hidden object paintings.
I see.
We should do that every painting.
Should have a hidden object somewhere in it.
But then we'd have to not show them what you were painting. So that probably won't work out for this channel.
Probably not. Probably not. Okay, dark. Going around that corner right there. And down along here. I'm going to get the black. Just use that right there. Okay, so there we go. For our stairs. Now that this is dry, I'm gonna do the same thing I did over here and glaze some blue on the stairs. And it's really just kind of comes down like this. So I'm just gonna do a Almost the same on each one of these. And just make sure the wall behind it is dark too. But and where you see the risers, then you'll see a little bit of a shadow kind of coming underneath that pot that's going to be there too. So put a little bit of a shadow under where that pot's going to be. And let's just go ahead and plan on putting a pot right here too, might as well. So I'm just going to shadow this out. And I'm going to use this and just shadow the separation between the treads here. Right here, and just make sure that these are all nice and dark right here. Kind of where it comes down. There's some bit of a shadow right there on some of these. And then got too much paint and not enough glaze there. So it covered it instead of glazed it. That's the difference. You want it to just, you still want to be able to see the details through it when you glaze. You're not trying to cover anything. You're just altering the tint of it a little. There we go. And then you can make these little separations in the stonework if you want to. There's like little just indications of some stones there if you want. Okay. And then that pot's going to be right here. It's a little farther down. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix up our pot terracotta color. This is the pretty much the same colors we used up here. The burnt umber, burnt sienna, burnt sienna, quinacridone, burnt orange, and the cadmium red light, and then the yellow oxide. And then I'm going to use the burnt umber. To put in some of the dark details. Just some shadowing along the sides of that pot. And these also have that kind of milky film on them, you know, the moss that kind of grows on the sides of them, so you can add a little bit of the yellow oxide and unbleached titanium, tiny bit of green. You can use that for that kind of oxidized or whatever it is, that film that they get. I'm not sure what it is. Like a mildew or moss. Huh?
It's the minerals from the water.
Minerals. The salt
Yeah,
deposits.
as it water seeps through and then dries off, the
sense.
minerals
Yeah.
are left behind.
Oh, see? Arty pants.
Yeah, you see that on my hat that I use out in the yard. I've got the same look, but it's not as cool looking.
Okay, I'm going to do some of these pots just kind of like a blue-black. Some of them are sort of brownish. Some of them, they're not all terracotta is what I'm saying. So this one kind of skips, and then there's a pot right here.
Got a question about the yellows.
Okay.
They want to know, is yellow oxide another name for yellow ochre?
It's very, very similar. They're almost identical, so you can use them interchangeably pretty much. So yes, you can use that if you have it. Just use that. Yellow oxide is a modern version. It's the kind of manufactured version, the chemical version, I should say, I guess. The yellow ochre is the mineral version. I believe that's what it's called. Well, I'm trying to get, I don't know why I'm taking so much time with this, because it's just going to be covered by plant, but I do want it to look good. Okay. I'm messing around so much so that this is drying out before I get to the next one. All right, so there's that one, then there's one here. This one's kind of a tall and narrow. This brush is probably not great for this. Okay, then there's a pot here, and this pot here. of it's slightly curved. Can you get some of that yellow color? Add some of that in there. You may have to wait to add your highlights there. Not wanting to stick. So going around that corner there. Something like that. Get some of that lighter yellow here. Just gonna so this pot should be about to the top of that, which it is, so it's about right. All right, and then there's some pots back here, but you really can't see them. So I'm gonna use this dark and just kind of put in some pot-ish shapes back in here, kind of getting smaller as I go back. Like that. All right, let me use this, maybe a little bit of the gray to just indicate these pots here. There. They're mostly dark, and they slightly overlap. So like this one comes in front of the bottom of that one a little bit. So forth. How you doing, hon?
I'm doing super.
Good.
I'm trying to figure out all the stuff I'm trying to learn about photography on this picture.
Oh,
Focal lengths and apertures and
interesting.
depth of field, field of view. That sounds like a professional, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Too bad I can't take pictures.
We're learning. Everybody
Yes.
has to start somewhere.
True. So then I can go to places like this and take pictures.
Right. And have them turn out nice enough to be able to use for paintings.
That's the theory.
Using a little bit of that blue-gray here on this pot. Using that black kind of just on the bottom of these dark pots to mark them out a little bit. Okay, so there we go. And then we can just do another dark pot down here, I guess. And you don't have to, you know, I mean, I know that, and my instinct is to resolve everything too, and, you know, make everything like make sense, but you don't always have to do that. So a lot of these are pretty dark, you know, so we can't see all the details in there, and that's okay. All right, so let's cleaning this out really good. Just making sure all these are really cleaned out very good. All right, now you can go back in if you need to and adjust your shadows, but I think we're okay on ours. I think I actually came out a little too far on some of them, but that's okay. I'm going to get some of the yellow oxide and a little bit of that quinacridone burnt orange. Come back in, and I've got a number 2 round now, and I'm just gonna use it to put the details on my pots here. Get that dark. Actually, I'm going to get the angle brush. Let's get the 3/8 inch angle here. And a little bit of the burnt umber, black, glaze, just the tip of this brush. So we're gonna float on some shadows on our pots. Right up under there and alongside this side where it's disappearing into the shadow, the wall. There. These shadows are pretty dark, so they're almost black right here. And these other pots don't really have these because they're kind of more just that bowl shape. But if you need them, you can. They should disappear completely on this side as they hit the wall. So just keep an eye on that. And use this on this pot here. Create that lip that goes around. And then I'm going to get this black and outline kind of the bottom of this pot where it sits on those cobblestones. Just make sure it's nice and dark right there. And on all of these steps too. Just make sure that underneath those terracotta ones are it's dark. The dark ones are already going to look dark. Okay. Let's paint some greenery. 2 hours, not too bad. Okay, so the greenery will go fast. That doesn't. It's always kind of the fastest part. Getting the phthalo green, yellow shade here, and the ultramarine blue. Gonna make kind of a teal color, darkish. And then I'm gonna add some burnt umber. And then I can add just a tiny bit of black over here. Okay. So I'm just gonna start with this and this whole corner here is this dark tree. Right here comes out a little bit this way. And on these steps, there's like a rubber tree, I think, or something that's coming up over from the bottom. Back in here somewhere. You can see some steps. There's some stems coming up like this. I always start from the back, so you want to do the spiky ones that are in front because those are the ones you notice, but start at the back and make sure you build this foliage that's down here first. All these dark leaves and things that are building the background of your plants underneath. There's some taller leaves sticking up. All of this is dark. There's just a little bit of this terracotta peeking through in a couple of places, but all of this is pretty dark. And these leaves go all the way out over here, spilling out over the pot and in front of the steps. There's some coming out right here. I need to protect this wall. I'm gonna put some tape right there. We can do that quickly. Protect that wall. Bring out those leaves that are right here. Okay. So each one of these pots that has a plant, you're going to put this color in. Some more than others, some are bigger than others. This one is kind of disappearing behind this one that's pretty tall. Right here. And then this little guy is kind of small. Same thing with this one. It's kind of small. It's got some flowers in them too. And you can add flowers to any of these you want. So I'm going to definitely be adding flowers. I'm going to do kind of a, I think I'll do another one of these over here. Another one of the hydrangeas. Just to kind of do a, you know, and I think it'll be pretty. Okay, and then this is a tall viney plant right here. And there's also some leaves coming over right here from somewhere. I may leave those out, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave them out.
Got a question.
Put like a light thing here if you wanted to. What?
Got a question about a substitution.
All right.
They'd like to know what could they use other than Cad Red Light.
Any of the light reds, like Naphtha Red Light, Cadmium Orange would work. You know, you just need an orangey red. So Cadmium Red Medium might work with a little bit of yellow. But Cadmium Red Light is kind of a brightish red. I would say I would buy it before I would buy a Cadmium Red Medium because you're going to use it more. At least I would. I will. I don't. If you have Quinacridone Magenta and Cadmium Red Light, you can make just about any red you want. So that's what I usually use when I'm doing reds. Sometimes I'll use Cadmium Red Medium if I want to do a pink, like animal noses or something like that. They tend to look good with Cadmium Red Medium. But, all right, I don't know why I get to talking about stuff, and I'm like, they didn't ask me about Cadmium Red Medium. I'm sorry. I'm getting loopy. I think I'm going to put this over here because I think it'll balance it to have another terracotta down here possibly. Although maybe not. I don't know. I kind of like the progression, so maybe not. Maybe it might pull the eye too much down here. You decide. You can do it if you want it on yours. All right. So I've got this green here. Let me go ahead and mix up a lighter green now. So I'm going to grab some more of that and some yellow. More of the phthalo green. Some yellow. And then I'm going to mix up Quinacridone, or the Ultramarine Blue. I say the wrong names. By the time this time of the show, you never know what name I'm going to come out with out my mouth. It's so funny. It's like, no, this is not quinacridone anything. It's yellow. Cadmium, to be exact. All right, so cadmium yellow. This is cadmium yellow with phthalo green. Let's make a phthalo green with... Man, my phthalo green is just thick. Been coming out of the tube that way. All right, there's with yellow oxide. And these may look kind of bright, but if they look too bright, you can add like a little touch of burnt sienna or something like that to them. So I might add a little bit of that to these two. The ultramarine blue one, ultramarine blue already kind of tones down the yellow. It kind of creates sort of an olive toned green. All right, and so I'm just let's go ahead and start in the back here. This brush might be a little too big. We'll see. Yeah, all these, I don't know why it didn't. These pots are way farther over. these ones on the bottom are just like little palms that are kind of stretching out into the pathway there to the door. So grabbing some of the darker. There we go. And then there's a tall. It's right in here actually. So I need to put something dark right there because it. Yeah, and I've got sunset light color on my brush as well as the dark, so I can just use those both. And really should have the light at the top though. Just using the very tip of the brush to kind of create these little teeny tiny leaves. Get a little bit of that unbleached titanium. Put that down. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of do a little bit of a dark pot down here. There we go. Get some of that lighter green. And I'm just kind of using the very tip of the brush to kind of very lightly just kind of create these shapes. Okay. See how that looks. Okay, that's not bad. And then some of the shadow areas have these kind of medium tone leaves, so I'm just gonna kind of use the Phthalo blue, Ultramarine blue mixture for some of these. Do some larger, longer leaves. The very tips of them have some of the lighter color. But just kind of going over now the areas where I have the dark color. I'm going to use the ultramarine blue here and some white and create some highlights on some of these leaves with that color. Some of these are catching the light and turning blue because they're in shadow, so they're light lit up, but it's like indirect light, so they're kind of blue. If your leaf is in direct sunlight, it's going to turn yellow. So, in case you needed to know that. I'm going to use this light blue here to do these kind of spiky plants. And I'm going to just grab some of this darker green with the burnt umber black and go over the top of some of these a little bit with that, just to kind of tone them down a little bit. Use this medium green that has some of that blue in it for some of these. There we go. In here, there's some tips of these flower, that rubber plant sticking through. And a lot of this back here is just dark, so I'm not going to do much with that. There are some plants way up high here that are way up at this archway. And they're over here, they're probably hanging off a pot and coming down. So just making sure I've got a little bit of the light and dark color with these as I'm doing it. There is just a slight little bit of a pot under there, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little dark pot there. And then do a few more of these big rubber leaves over in front of it. Some of them are in the sunlight, so they're yellow. And then let's do this burnt umber and unbleached titanium, a little bit of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to do these. So they're coming from like right behind this pot here. There's two tall. Plants right there. Let's go ahead and do the light. There's a couple of light sticks on this one, holding it up. Or maybe stems, I don't know. So I'm just going to use the very tip of the brush here and just create these little and then all of these are just all up in front of everything right here. These little spiky things coming out of this guy.
Doing pretty good. Let's see. This is my microphone. Doing pretty good.
Thank you. Looking all right?
Yes.
Good.
And the painting's pretty good too.
Where's the drum?
Haven't heard that one before, have you?
No, I haven't. Never gets old. And And some yellow. Yellowish green here. Get some of that blue. There's some of the blue in some of these. So they come up to a point and they all kind of fuzz out from there. And like my thumb here, some of the ones that come in straight at us are only going to look like that, you know. And some of them, if they're pointing down, are going to curve down a little bit. So some of these are bent and just kind of coming straight at us. Some of them have odd shapes. But once you get to the middle here, all the ones like below that are either going to go down or out towards us here. So those are going to be like dab and pull. See? Like that. For the ones kind of coming in our direction. And then the ones coming out are they're all going to the same kind of general area down here in the middle though. And if it gets too light, you can go back in with some darker ones. Right, and then let's do the leaves in the front here. The hydrangea. Some of them are that kind of bluish. So get some of that ultramarine blue. Do some of those at that. But the stems of these are just completely covered up by these, so. And the leaves are kind of set in sideways almost, so I'm just kind of pulling side to side for these leaves. Am I going too fast on this?
Not for me, but I won't be painting it, so you can even go faster. That's fine.
Fine with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good pace,
Thanks.
actually.
You think you can follow along with this pace?
Yeah, yeah. And, if you don't want to paint plants, you can paint, like, tables full of food, because that would be yummy.
True.
Wine and cheese and bread and
Very true.
coffee,
Mm-hmm.
espresso.
All right.
And I'm trying to remember. I was watching a video on photography, and there was a guy from England, and he was talking about, depth of field, and then, of course, you get the bokeh effect.
Mm-hmm.
But he pronounced it something different or differently, and I was trying to remember what it was. Hopefully somebody from England can phonetically spell it in chat. I was like, what is he talking about? Like, oh, bokeh. Okay. It's amazing how we speak the same language, but
I know.
have such
Pronounce
different
everything.
pronunciations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someday they'll get it right. You think?
I think that they started it, so we probably are the ones that strayed. Just saying.
sure.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay.
Okay, so just kind of doing various greens because all plants aren't the same tone of green, you know. So just kind of using any of these blues. If you wanted to, you could grab the Phthalo blue and that'd give you different greens too from that, you know. So I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush now. This is the 2-aught. See, make sure that I can get a good line out of this, though. I might have to use a different brush. Let me see if I can get, yeah, this will be fine. Just want to do some a little bit more detailed, and I can't get that right angles with that angle, with the brush that I was using there, that angle brush. Just doing some little clusters of things in that plant there. And using some yellow and white. And then just going in and doing some really bright highlights. And again, you want to keep your highlight colors to a minimum, so just kind of save them for just a few little areas because that's what's really going to draw your eye. And make sure you leave plenty of that dark color in there, you know, in between, so that you've got, I was going to bring that green down, but I don't think I'm going to. All right, let's do some flowers and we'll be done. Get that magenta. Been waiting this whole time to play. I'm going to use that. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it. Use a little bit of the darker color for the underneath. Okay, my light white, a little bit more yellow, maybe a little bit the Unbleached Titanium. Go light cream. Just dabbing circles, really. That's all I'm doing. And this time I'm going to go kind of towards the top and middle with these, leaving that darker shade underneath to create shadows and such. Okay, and then our little flower, and these plots are that color too, so I'm going to do some there. And I think I'm going to put some up here too. Give this guy a stem here. All right. Is there anything you could put roses? We could make, could do yellow or white flowers, anything you wanted to, but I think I'm going to leave that there because I'm pretty happy with the colors, I think. And then I'm going to get the black here, a little bit of the blue, and my glaze. And then just go back and kind of glaze out some of these areas here. Add some of the dark back into some of these areas in my plant. It's easy to kind of lose your dark areas when you're doing this, so just kind of keep an eye on that, and add the dark around this pot here. Definitely want to bring out some of the darker in here.
So it's nice of you to paint the courtyard of our house there in Italy today. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. This will be our retirement home. Is this our dream retirement home right here?
Oh, I thought that was just our weekend getaway.
Our summer villa.
Yeah, just, we had nothing else to do.
I wish. Getting some blue here. Use some of that on here. Yeah, this is gorgeous, isn't it? I know. I mean, there's a good number of our audience that lives in areas like this. It's just amazing. So beautiful. I hope you don't take it for granted how pretty it is. I'm sure they don't. But this is not stuff we see where we live. Not at all. Everything's very shiny and new. And processed, and it doesn't have any life like this does. All right, so I could kind of lose myself in all these little details and things, but I'm pretty happy with this, I think, for the most part. I definitely went very, impressionist style. I'm going to go over some of these flowers with the leaves because, your flowers are not going to just kind of live out on their own. They're going to have the leaves kind of covering them and stuff. So can do that if I need to. Pretty. As they say in English, chuffed. Pretty chuffed with this one. There we go.
Beautiful.
All right.
Very nice.
And call it good. I feel like we could probably have another plant over here, but I don't know. I'm
in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our friend Dave said, you could put a plant in there to kind of balance
over
it out.
Here.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I think it's fine.
I did kind of think that too, Dave. But well.
We
could do a vine. We could have something kind of just trailing over. Let's do that. That'll be an easy way of doing it. Just have it coming off the edge here and coming down like from we don't know where.
She's gone off script.
It's coming off.
Kicking it up a notch.
Well, and that way I don't have to do a pot. I'm just being lazy, really, but to be honest. But that way we've got a little something over here. There we go. And I can do a little vine that kind of like reaching down. You know that the one that we did for the patrons, we had these little pots coming off the edge, you know, hanging off the edge of the building. So that could be what this is. It's just like a little pot somewhere over here. Okay, let's just call that good. That way it's got some green over here. Mm-hmm. I'm happier with that. All right, there we go.
Very cool.
Not too bad.
Very good.
So almost 3 hours. Yeah, I can't simplify enough. But we did good. I think I like it. You know, any less, I wouldn't have been happy with it. So takes as long as it takes, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I don't have any other place to be. Mark might, but thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. I know you guys have other places to be, so we appreciate you taking time out of your day to hang out with us and watch our videos. It really means a lot. And you can check out the Traceable for this if you're part of our Patreon crew or you want to sign up for that. You can go to patreon.com/AngelaFineArt there. Mark's got the link up. And find all kinds of more goodies there. I'm going to give this guy a shadow on his stem because he's not going to just be...
And then there's a website, thethankfulart.com, where you can sign up for the newsletter and get notified of all the upcoming videos and things that are going on.
Some really cool stuff coming up this summer. So definitely our newsletter is the first. They've already gotten a preview of our schedule for this May and June. I've already scheduled up May and June. You can click on my name or photograph, though. I have it up on YouTube here, so you can check that out too. I just don't have the I usually will post the whole entire schedule with links and everything up on social media. So if you want to look for that, it'll be up this week probably. But just adding some shadows back in here that I noticed I missed on the rocks. But yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up, so I hope you guys come back and join us. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll be back on next Saturday. We're not having a Tuesday video because I'm getting my COVID shot on Monday and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel, so we just decided to take the day off just in case. Fingers crossed everything will be fine, but you never know. So all right, thanks guys for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.